The answers to all life's questions can be found in the movies. This is one of the reasons you should acquaint yourself with classic cinema. The great stories set to film can have profound and lasting impact on our lives. The power of a great movie cannot be underestimated. With this in mind, which are the best films to help explain the strange times we live in at present?
Welcome to the real world.
Here are my 7 picks for the motion pictures that will help you understand the weird and wacky world of the 2020s. I will not be putting The Matrix on this list for the simple reason if you're not aware of the possibility that we're living in a simulation and that to escape the fake reality you must take the red pill, well, you aren't watching this video anyway. Demolition Man predicts a brave new world so accurately it's scary. Human behaviour is suppressed and controlled. A weak and passive society is always in danger from unforeseen violent forces, but even more deadly are benevolent overlords with good intentions. Political correctness is taken to its extreme. This is what happens to societies that willingly give up their freedoms. The kindly control of free speech is truly terrifying. Let's hope we never see this sort of control on YouTube.
Whatever.
Let's be clear, we're talking about the 1960s version, not the monstrosity from the 2000s. This film shows us a future where humanity over time is divided into 2 groups. The unquestioning Eloi who become cattle to their Morlock overlords at Google. The weak, subservient Eloi are happy in their ignorance as long as they're clothed and fed. This creates a symbiotic relationship with the Morlocks, which works pretty well if you don't mind the possibility of being eaten. The Morlocks do have a weakness. Like Bill Gates and his ilk, they don't like having the light shone upon them. Through these glimpses we see the grotesqueness of their true faces. They Live was John Carpenter's critique of Reaganism, but there's a much deeper truth to this classic sci-fi movie. The sunglasses, like the red pill, are the metaphor for seeing the world as it really is. We see the elites and oligarchs' true faces, and maybe even more disturbing are those that will sell out their own kind. The Invasion of the Body Snatchers is the film where normal people are turned into NPCs. Humans turning into socialist automatons starts to take hold in San Francisco. Nobody could have seen that one coming. If you don't want to become one of them, you must stay awake. If you fall asleep, you may become woke. Is it possible to stay under the radar and pretend to be part of the herd, to conform and not speak out? And if we do this, aren't we as good as taken over already? The feeling that we're always being watched and listened to is even more relevant today, isn't it, Siri? The fact that the protagonists are made to feel like conspiracy theorists, and even Spock uses gaslighting on them, all add to the paranoia that makes this film seem more relevant today than to its original concept of a communist takeover. Is it possible to resist? Or is it already too late?
Please! You're right, here they are!
The Wicker Man is unlike anything else on this list. For one, it's not a sci-fi. But it does show us a possible future where a lone, good, if not a little boring man in a society gone crazy will be sacrificed for the greater good. A pagan worshipping of the planet where net zero needs to be achieved at any cost, and the libs of TikTok are more than willing to kill a conservative Christian policeman. It's a 70s version of Defund the Police. Idiocracy is a cautionary tale, and one of the best arguments for the concept of conservatism I've ever seen. This is where the welfare state eventually leads us. If we abandon meritocracy, for instance, gratification and equality of outcome, this is where society will end. The film warns against the convergence of government and private business, although a business funding the FDA seems a little too unbelievable. The thirst for knowledge is gone and the dumbing down of language and dress codes is the order of the day. Imagine a world where all politicians looked and sounded like Senator John Fetterman. Unfortunately, this is not as hard to imagine as one would hope. On the surface, The Running Man is just a run-of-the-mill 80s action movie, but there's more to it than that. Themes of how easily it is to control the masses juxtaposed to the ability of the individual to stand up to the system. This adds layers that you may not expect. It takes place in a utilitarian deep state where the ends justify the means. They use the Running Man show as a distraction after an economic crash. art and communication is controlled Soviet social media style. If you don't agree with the current thing, a deep fake can be used to convict enemies of the state through trial by media, ending in a swift trip to the re-education camp. Although its portrayal of Hollywood as superficial, with its willingness to do the bidding of a totalitarian state, does seem a bit unbelievable. I can't imagine Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert selling out. And one last thing, the dystopian future version of LA actually looks a lot nicer than Los Angeles today. Well, that was my list. If there's any films you think I've missed, just let me know.